Hey, you know how you have that conversation you have to have with that person about that thing you don't really want to talk to, but you kind of have to talk about it? You know what I'm talking about? And how about that thing that you've been meaning to do for the past couple of days, weeks, or even past couple of years? Yeah, that thing, you remember? Is there anything you can do to make that conversation happen sooner than later? Or to do that thing that you need done? It could be a big project, could be a small project. The conversation is probably a big conversation, one way or the other. But in any case, both of those things need to happen. I bet that the act of doing the thing you want to do or having that conversation you need to have that you've been putting off is probably going to make you feel a lot better than the feeling you'll have if you don't do anything about it at all. I mean, I don't want to lecture anyone out there. I'm just going off of how I felt today after I got two of those things done. So I got my finances finally squared away and things compartmentalized and organized in a good way that I've been meaning to do for a long time. I got all my taxes in order, and I also managed to apply for a second round of the PPP loan program. If you're new to my channel, I'm currently on break at work during a 16-hour shift, and I promised all my viewers I would post every single day of the year. So here I am making the most of my time. I am the amazing Flec, and I am a performance artist who has lost 95% of my contracts due to the current state of affairs around the world. So I've had to do a lot of adapting and adjusting and relearning things of what it is to do work, how I get by, and how I pay my rent, and how I pay my bills. And I can say for one thing, it's certainly been quite a humbling experience. So today has been absolutely wonderful for a lot of different reasons. I got a lot of stuff done in my own personal life. I got a lot of stuff done while I was at work. So I took care of everything I needed to do while I was working today, and also used the little breaks that I had in between to get a lot of stuff done in my own personal life through the internet and other forms of communication, such as this cell phone here and this GoPro down here. Yeah, my tripod broke on my GoPro, so now I have to resort to putting my GoPro down here and going back to the old school version of using my phone up on top of this here treadmill. So this should be fun. I can do stuff like this. Camera 1, camera 2, camera 1, camera 2, camera 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. If you get the reference, you get the reference. If you don't get the reference, then I'm sorry. Aside from being silly with the camera, though, I'd get on a serious note once again, though. There are things that we have to do that we put off. There's a lot of that going on in my life, I know for sure. And I know that it's a very relatable place to be. Most all of us have some sort of goal we're trying to reach. We either take our time getting there or we don't take the necessary steps to go forward because of some reason. Could be related to fear, could be related to laziness. More likely it's probably related to just not knowing what to do sometimes. And it could really help just to write things out on a piece of paper right down in front of you. Make a list of the various steps you anticipate happening, and make a list of ideas and strategies on how you can tackle this project you're trying to work on, or that conversation you have to have. You can write down everything you want to say down on paper and review it and think about it. And maybe you can have a more effective way of communicating what's going on in your mind to that person. It could be helpful. Writing is a wonderful tool. And I did a lot of that today. I did a lot of writing for a number of different reasons, whether it was to apply for a PPP loan or was to figure out more of my taxes and that whole situation with that, or if it was to write down how I wanted to approach a conversation I needed to have with someone that I've been putting off for the past 4 days. Now, when I say I've been putting it off, I've been really busy. I'm a very, very busy guy these days. I'm always trying to do something to keep busy, to move forward, and to build more momentum in my life. I have some goals, and they need to be met like 7 years ago, so I got a lot of catching up to do. I owe myself a lot of money, and I owe myself a lot of more free time later on after I pay back that money that I borrowed from myself in my 20s. I hope that makes a little bit of sense to anyone out there who's paying attention. But after writing down how I want to bring up in that conversation, it made the whole process of making that phone call a lot easier on me because I knew what I wanted to get across, and I had a better idea of how I wanted to communicate things. And it made the conversation so much easier. It made it a lot easier for both of us, I feel. And I think it was okay for them, but I had a lot of weight on my shoulders before approaching the situation. I know I'm talking in abstracts and everything, but that doesn't matter what I talk about. The important thing is you, and you being able to maybe use that in your own life in some way. Sometimes the hardest thing is just taking that first step. Sometimes the hardest thing to do, like my friend said, is to get out of bed in the morning. When you're feeling down and you're feeling negative, it feels like the whole world's against you, you got weight on your shoulders, it can be straight up paralyzing, and it can be really hard to get anything done. Getting out of bed or Something as simple as fixing a meal for yourself if you're really depressed. And I've seen it. I've been there. Been really down where I just didn't have the drive to even get any food in my body. Or water. I just would waste away sleeping for way too long as a coping mechanism. And that does you no good. You got to get up and keep moving. You got to do something. And there's always something you can do to make your life a little bit better. Yeah, not a lot of stuff gets done when you're feeling negative and when you're feeling defeated. And when you think, I can't do this, or this never goes right, that, or why bother even trying at all? I mean, I think it's fair to say we've all been there at some point, just feeling so down that you don't want to get anything done. And I think it's more than fair to say that we've all seen other people that we care about in these ruts of depression, or they just don't do anything to help themselves. And it can be so frustrating, right? Because sometimes, well, for me, it's actually a lot easier for me to do something for someone else and help someone else out than it is for me to help my own self and do the things that I need to do for me. And it can be easy to forget that you won't have that ability to help out other people if you can't take care of yourself first. Because if you don't take care of yourself, you don't take care of your body, then how can you possibly take care of someone else when you're not even able to feed yourself? I suppose I don't really know where I'm going with this whole rant here today, aside from the fact that today for me was a really good day, and I owe a lot of that in part to doing things and getting things done that I've been procrastinating on for a long time. And hopefully through sharing that personal story and all its vagueness, that I hope that it can maybe tap someone out there on the shoulder and maybe get them to get up and do the things that they need to get done. It could be as simple as just picking up the clothes off the floor in your room, putting them in a basket, and doing some laundry. Or like that famous speech that the Navy SEAL did that went viral a couple of years back about making your bed. It's the first thing you got to do in the morning. You get up, you make that bed. And that's the first victory. It's the first task on the list you can mark off. And after doing that one task, that builds that momentum you need to accomplish the next simple task, however simple, but to accomplish that next task and do that next task. And then do the third one, and the fourth one. And they can all be simple tasks. But if you connect them all together and you keep that momentum going, I think you can find yourself doing bigger and better and greater things along the way. So with that, I think that's where I leave you today. I don't want to talk your ear off longer than I got to, and you probably have more important things to do with yourself rather than listen to some guy who's on a treadmill while he's on break at work. So with that being said, I hope that you go forth and conquer your day, do whatever you got to do to better your life. You're worth it. You can make it happen. I'm not trying to sell you nothing either, so this is coming from my heart, folks. Do what you got to do to take care of you, so hopefully you can take care of others that you love. They're worth it too. All right, I've said too much. Hope you remember to keep safe, be well, stay humble, and peace.